Hello everybody, this is Lee Phillips, Journey of Truth. It is 11:50 in the morning on this Friday, January the 9th. It is about 64, 65 degrees outside, and we are here at the property at the corner of Line Street. And we're going to take a look, since it is no longer closed off. We're going to take a walk around and take a look at everything. So what we're looking at right here, this is Highway 20 going towards Lawrenceville. This is going towards City Hall. This is what is called the emergency exit out of the subdivision here. And this is in case, I guess, a situation happens where maybe there's a fire in the subdivision and the main drive-in is blocked somehow and people need to get out. I believe that's the inference on that being there. So the ditch line and drive around through here is extremely terrible. And I'm guessing that's because there's so much road work that's got to be done in this area. That side of the road over there has been tore up for quite a while now. This area right here, why they did this curbing all the way out to the main road, I don't understand why they didn't have a turning lane coming off of 20 right here, coming onto Line Street. That makes no sense at all, because now in heavy traffic, when this is all backed up and people want to turn on Line Street, that's going to create a problem. The curbing should have allowed for a turning lane coming onto Line Street. Doesn't make sense to me. So then we come down through here, and something else I noticed, the curbing on elevation is way lower than the asphalt on Line Street right here. That's going to create a problem. Now down through here it's not that bad, but in the curve section right here, that means the road is going to fall towards the curb, which could be a problem in the future. So let's walk down through here and see what else we notice. Now this is definitely a safety hazard at this point in time for Line Street and people traveling down Line Street. As you can see, it is very, very narrow anyway, and with all this tore up, it's even worse. And right here, God forbid somebody pull over on your side and you have to swerve to the right past this sign, because you're going to mess up your front suspension with that hole that's right here next to the edge of the road. There are no safety cones down through here. So just to point out, although all of that is done in this area, the company that developed this has pulled out their construction trailer and there is no longer anybody present on site. And they have left this site open to road hazards because it is not properly guarded to keep vehicles from running off the edge. Where would this be acceptable in anywhere? I don't get it. Now, I get that they got poles in this area. They've the power company probably just has got things moved recently and all, and still stuff to do as far as utilities are concerned. But how come it's not getting done? Why was there a push to get this property developed and now it is just sitting stagnant? Just some questions I have. Maybe somebody out there will know the answers. But I mean, look, here's some major tree roots that were never dug out. How are they going to get those roots out? Is probably going to do damage to the road right here, because the roots aren't just right there, they spread out. So that's probably going to do damage to the road. The curbing is getting washed out because there's no base built up under it. How are they going to repack the base under an edge that is washed out? You can't get in there with a machine. You can't turn a packer sideways to pack it in there. What it's going to do is end up causing a soft spot in the foundation of the drive over there, which eventually is going to erode out the asphalt on the edge, and it's just gonna create more problems down the road. But why was this left in this much of disarray, causing hazards for drivers that have to drive down through here? Why did they not put in sidewalks? Were they not required to put sidewalks at the street side up and down through here? Maybe they're going to come back and put them in closer toward the finished project. But why leave it all disrupted on the road edge out there? That's just crazy. Now this is rough grade on everything. This is not finished product, and I understand that out there is rough grade and there's delays with the utilities and stuff, but safety hazards should be addressed ahead of time and not wait until somebody drops their car off in a hole that's right at the edge of the road. That should have never been left like that. And there should be cones all the way down that road to mark the area under construction. So we can see all of the sewer stub ups, the red ones. I don't know if that's, I think that might be gas or electrical. Red ones are electrical, green ones are sewer. And as you can see, these lots are not that big. I mean, not big at all. And by the time you put a driveway in here, if it's a 2-car driveway, or are we just gonna allow parking in the street? I see they got a little offset right there for, looks like parking, and an offset over there for parking. But yeah. And that's where we started at. That's the emergency exit for the subdivision. They've got forms up for something over here. They don't have any utilities stubbed up for anything here, but looks like they're gonna have some kind of maintenance sheds or something right here. Not sure about that. They've got them ready to be poured. And they've got electrical going to that one, but no electrical over to that one. So I don't know what that's gonna be right there. It might take me just a minute to get all the way around through here, but I want to check everything out. I want to document everything, because once the work starts in here, none of this will be the same. Now, just a little note on history. From about where I'm at to the road out there, and from Line Street back to the security fence that they have up right there, this used to be a trailer park. There was a little trailer park here with about 8 or 10 trailers in it. And for a long time, people lived in every one of those trailers. But as they moved out and the trailers were dilapidated and could no longer be repaired at a reasonable cost, they were just left to sit and rot until this project came along. I think some of them were cleaned up over the years, but when a mobile home has reached its life expectancy, there are limitations on when you can pull that vehicle back out on the highway. And because of newer regulations and everything, you can't take the old mobile homes and move them from one location to another anymore. You have to disassemble them where they're at and get all the wood and debris off of the metal, and then you have to cut the metal up to get it to the recycler. It can be an expensive project. Looks like they're going to leave some landscaping rocks around in some of these yards. I don't know if those are much actual rocks or granite. All right, that one there is concrete. Those over there are granite. Same size lots. And then this area in the middle right here, you're going to have extra parking on this side for these lots. So these might not even get driveways, because none of this curbing has been set up to park a car in a driveway. None of this curbing is, so none of the lots are going to have driveways in them unless they're going to come back and cut the curbing out for every single driveway, and that would not make sense why they would have spent the money to put the curbing in. So this whole subdivision is going to have parking in the street according to the layout of the curbing. Now just imagine a car's parked on this side of the street, lined up all the way down the street, and then you got, although cars parked in that space right there, up through there, you got to know that even down around through the curb, they're going to be parked on both sides of the street. Now this is absolutely ridiculous. No driveway parking, no garages, just buildings stacked in side by side. with no driveways, everybody parking in the street. I would not want to live somewhere that I did not have my own parking on my own property. So this is interesting also. They've got one retention pond right here. Although it is a small one, I don't know what would be running off into it. Let's go take a look. And just a reminder, there are no posted signs, no keep out, no trespassing. There are none of those signs in this area. They have the street side open to the public. So I'm not violating any laws. That's quite a bit of water in that retention pond for us not to really had any big rains lately. I wonder where all that water's coming from. All this ground I'm walking on feels pretty soggy and squishy. That's interesting. We've not had any big downpours. So we've got that one retention pond, which is a small one. Well, maybe the water is because all of this is, maybe all this ground feels so wet because it is so wet. I believe this might be part of the underground system, maybe where there's a water table is close up to the top, because look out here. This is, for all intents purposes, this old natural creek bed down through here is a swamp. It is a swamp. And so they've got this small retention pond here, and they've also got a larger retention pond over there. Let's go walk over there and take a look at it. Oh my goodness, this ground is so soft. This is weird, knowing that we've not had enough rain to actually make this ground soft. This is something that's, there's got to be a huge underwater resource in this area. See, there is water coming down through here, free flowing. This is fresh spring water. This is not runoff from other stuff. This is fresh spring water that is running in this creek. Now here's a creek which is much lower than this area over here. This is a little swamp area. And this has been here for a long time. You can see the tree growth around this area. This little swamp area has been like this for a long time. Well, let's walk up through here and take a look at this. Now, if I was moving into this area as a child, man, I would love it. Lots of places to go explore. That's what children like to do. They like to explore and expand their horizons. You can't tell me that kids ain't going to be all off down in here. There's no way to keep them out. You cannot keep them out. All right, so right here, we have a culvert drain. And it is open. I do not like seeing these in residential neighborhoods where they are open and a child can climb up in there. So even right here, we've got standing water, and I'm telling you, this ground feels like that we have been getting rain for about 2 weeks, and it is just so saturated that it feels like you're walking on a sponge. And all this has been compacted already. This has been worked and compacted. It should be a lot tighter than what it is. But I'm telling you, there's an underground water system under Loganville that is undermining the stability of this whole area. You got to remember, back in the day, when they dug wells and had well water, before all the trees got mature and sucked up all the water out of the ground in town, all the wells in town were shallow wells, 10 to 15 foot deep. That was it. That's all that was required for them to hold water. And these wells are sitting on top of the hills. They're sitting on top of the hill areas. And so to have that much water at the top of a hill tells you there has got to be a system underground that is pressurized and pushing water up towards the top. So you can see they've been backfilling on the property over here. All those rocks look like they were half stacked in there and not just dumped out of a truck. Somebody tried to build a retaining wall, but I guarantee you that retaining wall is not built to any kind of code. That is just rock and debris that has been stacked in there. We got a nice, beautiful wooded area right here. But here we have the creek that runs down through here. Now think about this. All these equipments that are sitting in these yards. You think all those equipments are clean? Or do you think they got oil leaks and stuff that when we get heavy rains, all that water, all that oil that collects in the water and all gets forced down into this natural creek bed area? How good do you think that is for the environment? And once again, like I said, there's no posted signs in the area that I'm at, but we're going to look on this fence and see what this fence says right here. But rule of thumb, never cross the fence line or go into a work zone. This is no longer a work zone that's open to the public, so that's why I'm down here. So here we have a double retention pond, and man, look at these. You don't think that somebody ain't gonna come down here one day? I see water moving on the bank, and I just about bet that's tadpoles in there. But check this out, the water level is up to the top of the inlet pipe coming in. So I imagine the first pond here is to slow down the rate of water before that it enters into the big portion of the pond. Now see, they don't even have a lock on that gate right there, and there's no signage up on the fencing that says keep out. That's not good. Kid come off, walk right through the gate that's not marked or anything. Get off down in there, they slip on the slippery muds, they slide off in there. They don't know how to swim, and I guarantee you that is deep enough right there. If a child was to get in there and not know how to swim, they would get mired up in the mud and drown. And then, boy, talking about a swampy situation. Now this is really swampy down here. Oh yeah, I see little frogs jumping around. Something has dug it out a little hole right there in the moist bank. And it's probably got a little den down in there. Something's dug out holes over there too. So there's wildlife living down here. Which there should be. It's a swamp. These are the areas we need to keep in our society. It is these areas that help sustain our land. Boy, who would have ever thought from Line Street up there that there was so much back off down in here? But y'all know I am all about safety. If you watch my videos and there's safety issues, I will point them out. And this is a safety issue right here with this gate. It needs signage and it needs a lock on it. No excuse. They need to do it before people start moving in down here and somebody ends up going in and getting drowned. A safety issue is one of the easiest things to correct, and to not do it, well, that's just negligence. I can just imagine what this place is going to look like come tomorrow when the rains start tonight, and then it rains all day tomorrow with these heavy storms that we're supposed to have coming through. It is going to be quite a sight, but you won't see me down here because I'm not going to be getting out in it. Not going to be doing no rain video tomorrow. Nice little easy breeze blowing. The air is warm. And folks, being from this area, I can tell you, everybody needs to be paying attention to what's going on today. That's a pretty granite rock right there. It looks like pink granite. Got a little bit of pink granite in it. If I didn't have to carry it, I'd like to take that one with me. Well, that one right there looks unique too. Well, I guess I can take the picture or the video and I'll have it for a long time. I didn't know we had any pink granite in the Loganville area. Now see, there are no offsets in the roadways on this side for parking. That means everybody that lives on this side over here, those folks have parking on the other side, but then you've got the other housing that's going to be on the other side of the street right there. So how is that going to be enough parking? Parking is going to have to go on the streets, even up through here. And so you got cars on each side. There's no way for two vehicles to come down the street at the same time going opposite directions. This is going to be a vehicular nightmare for parking and maneuvering through these streets, which makes it dangerous for children because children playing will be moving in and out between parked cars. So we have created all kinds of safety issues because we did not learn from past experiences that we know what caused things to happen. And so we have created problems because we are falling back on, let's just do things the way we used to and not implement safety issues like we should. If they're going to come back and put driveways in, then what was the sense of putting all this curbing in that's going to have to be taken out for a driveway? I don't think they're putting driveways in because they would have sloped the back curbing to accommodate for cars to come into the driveway. That's where they're going to have the sign at. Not going to be much of a hanging sign, it don't look like. And see, they've got this curbing all the way to the edge of the road when it should have been set back for, just like they got a turning lane coming into the subdivision. Do they not think that people are going to need to turn out of the subdivision and go to the right? So, how is that going to work? Knowing all the traffic that comes down through here, how can you say that doesn't create a safety hazard? Maybe they didn't want to go through the trouble of moving this pole right here along with the other ones. But that's ridiculous. They moved everything else but left this hydrant the same and left this pole right here. It makes no sense. I'm going to start calling our town the town of no sense, because the things that they authorize and do not make any sense. I don't know. I'm serious. Being in construction all my life, I don't know how they can justify some of the things that they do. Safety is the rule of thumb with everything that is done in this country. You do not skimp on safety because of cost. That's what gets people killed. All you got to do is look at the stats. I mean, a pedestrian can't even walk up and down this street going from one place to another without the risk of bodily injury being done because of the way the side of the road is right here, or because of the threat of the risk of being hit because you can't get to the side of the road. City of Loganville City Council, y'all have got to get on top of these goings-ons that are happening. And I'm gonna ask the question that I already know the answer to. Who's the city manager responsible for all this? And on that note, I'm gonna leave it there. Folks, y'all remember, be safe out there. Be good to one another. Do something kind for someone. And y'all have a blessed day.